Yo, what's up? My name is Omari Harabin, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to make a website for your own business. So you might want to save it, come back to it, hit pause along the way, whatever you need to do, but follow along because by the time we get to the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to make a website for yourself without needing any code or without hiring a developer. You're going to be able to create something that's going to help you attract clients and ultimately grow your business. All right, check it out. All right, let's jump in. So we're going to use a website platform called Squarespace. This is a platform I've been using for at least the past 6 or 7 years. I've played around with a couple other platforms, but 99% of the websites that I've built or tweaked or messed around with over the past 6 or 7 years have all been built on the Squarespace platform. So it's a platform I happen to be very familiar with, but also because it's really simple and easy to use. Now, there are some things that you're going to learn and discover in this video that will definitely make it easier. And so whatever learning curve there is, my goal is that by the time you get to the end of this video, you would have accelerated through that learning curve by watching me and seeing how I go about doing this. Now, I don't know what Squarespace.com is going to look like by the time you look at it. It's always they're always changing the homepage, but it's always easy to get started. You can just hit get started. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to select a template. Now, all Squarespace websites start like this. You're going to select your base template and we're going to customize it. It doesn't cost anything to do this. Each Squarespace site has a free 14-day trial, and then once you get to the end of that 14 days, I think there's an option for you to extend the trial if needed. But you can build your site for free, essentially, and then once you're ready to make it live and turn it on, then you can go ahead and pay for one of the plans. So I'll show you the plans later on in this video, but for now, what you're going to do is you're just going to click the link below and you're going to get started with one of the templates. Now, here you can see there's a question for me, what's the goal of your site? And this is good because this is something we're about to talk about in a moment. And so I'm going to say get clients. Now, the other option is I can just simply hit skip to templates, and that's going to show me all of the possible templates that I can choose. So again, I can start by browsing a template, or I can start by answering a few questions here, which is going to create like basically a template customized, pre-customized to a few different specifications. Now for this video, because you might not get the same thing when you do it, I'm just going to start by browsing a template. Now what we're looking at here is actually Squarespace 7. So depending on when you're watching this, there might be another version of another version of Squarespace that is, a little bit more updated. But as of now, Squarespace 7 is the go-to platform here. All right, so we've got a couple recommended templates here under the professional services category, and you can browse through these. All right, and before I select a template, I'm going to take a step back and we're going to actually really think through exactly what it is we're doing here with this website plan and checklist that I've prepared for you. Now, I'm going to make a hypothetical website today for you, and I'm just going to use my imagination. And today we're going to pretend that I'm a videography business, and we make videos for e-commerce companies who need product videos, right? So it's a very simple and clear offer and target market. Now, when you're planning out your website, you want to remember that your website exists to communicate a message. That's why it's there. And so, as much as you want to talk about yourself and just like any conversation, you want someone to be able to follow along, and you basically want to lead them somewhere. So you want to make it easy to read and understand, and think about it from the perspective of your audience. All right, what are they expecting to see? What do they want to know? How can you maximize the value of your website so that it actually does something for you? And so in this case, the purpose of our website, like I mentioned, is to get more clients for our business. And this is a pretty popular intention. If you're starting a website for any type of professional services, then there's a good chance that you want that website to help you get clients. And so this is something that I've gone through myself. And a checklist like this really helps to orient you around what's important, what matters, and what you need to have on your website. Now, like I just mentioned, our audience, who we're speaking to, is the most important part, because that's going to dictate the language that we use. It's going to dictate the style. It's going to allow us to really shape something that is going to be in alignment with what our audience is kind of expecting, but really the whole goal is to take them somewhere. All right. And so what's the problem that our audience has? This is really important because ultimately that's what's going to lead them to take action. And so in this case, the problem that our ideal client has is that they don't have any videos at all. They've got a store, but sales and conversions are low. And they already know, right? They've already made up their mind that they need video in order to grow their sales and grow their store. So that's the kind of audience and customer that we're dealing with for this particular website. Now, your website's going to be different, but I'm encouraging you here to really think it through on behalf of your target client, because the more you can hone in and make it speak directly to their needs, their problems, what they're looking for, the easier it is, for them to be able to trust you. The easier it's going to be for you to establish your credibility and to get them to want to even reach out and get in touch with you. And then we want to consider our offer. What is the thing that we want them to do? Our call to action is ultimately going to be something that's going to get them a one step closer to their goal of growing their business using video. And us as the videography business, we're going to take them down that path from where they are now with no videos to having videos and a bunch of sales, right? That's the idea. And then finally, you want to think about what kind of proof do you have? So have you done this before? Do you have case studies? Do you have testimonials? Sure, you can sell me that you can do this thing, but what's the proof? And so this can be social proof, right? People, reviews, testimonials, or it could be some other kind of proof, some data, some stats, something that's going to show kind of like an A/B of before and after type thing. All right. So once you've kind of thought through the purpose of your website, who you're speaking to, the audience, what big problem your service solves for them, and whatever proof you have, you're ready to start to plan out your page copy. Now, this is the content that's actually going to be on your website. And what I have here is just a loose template to kind of guide you here. And so again, we want to focus on clarity over cuteness. We want to make it scannable, and we want to use visuals to break up the text. So I'll get to the visuals in a moment. For now, let's focus on the copy. So for this site, I have planned to have 6 pages. All right, including our blog, which is obviously more than one blog post. So our homepage is going to be the very first thing that someone sees when they come to our website. And you want to think about where someone could possibly be coming from. So maybe they're coming from Instagram, or maybe they're coming from Google, or maybe they're coming from some other social media network. You want to like consider that, because depending on where they're coming from, is going to tell you what kind of message you need to put in front of them. Now, we're going to assume here that you have a somewhat of a decent digital presence, right? You may be on some social networks, you might be in some different online communities, and we're going to assume that once you introduce people to your brand, and once they find out about you, they're going to go to your website to learn more. All right. So in this scenario, we're going to make our homepage really, really simple. And there are no fixed rules about this. What I'm sharing here is just my thought process, and hopefully you can get something from my thought process. But here we want to focus on, once they get to this homepage, there's one thing that we want them to do, and that is to sign up for a free webinar to learn how we took company X from 0 to 100K in revenue. I just made that up, but the headline would be, we help grow an e-commerce brand sell more with video. All right, so that's what we do. We help growing e-commerce brands sell more using video. That's the basic pitch. And someone, if they're curious enough, if they actually want to sell more and they know they need video, then signing up for our free webinar is going to make sense, especially if that webinar is designed to convert, really. And that's just one way you can go about doing this, right? You can have a much longer form homepage with a whole lot of, summarize all the things you can about your business. But I'm thinking for our goals here, which is to get clients and to get them to call and maybe sign up for a free consultation, before they're even going to do that, they really need to feel confident that this is the solution for them. So something like a webinar is really going to help do that. It's not the only way, but it's something that I think in this scenario, again, is going to be useful. All right, so moving on, a couple more pages. You've got your about page. The purpose there, of course, is to share your story, talk about your brand. Why do you exist? Right? That's a big question. Like, why are you here? Why do you care? Why should I care? And what can I expect from dealing with you? Like, what can I expect? What are you all about? I like to just keep it simple. What are you all about? That's what your about page is for. It's also one of the most clicked on pages. And so I think keeping your about page story focused and relatable is going to help build that trust, which is what you want. Now we've got some case studies here. And so a small little template for that is, who's the case study from? I mean, who's the case study about? What's the problem that we helped them solve? What was the result, and how did we go about doing it? I think that would be an effective way to kind of demonstrate that proof aspect that I spoke about. And that would essentially, our free webinar here that we're talking about would be taking one of these case studies and kind of breaking it apart and sharing that. Okay, moving along. Now we got our services page. Again, what should someone expect? The more you can kind of use your words to guide someone through what that experience is going to be like with you, even before hiring you or once they've hired you, it allows them to fill in those holes in their head of like what's going to happen next. Really and truly, you want to answer that question for them. Okay, that's your service. What's going to happen next if I sign up for your webinar? What's going to happen next if I get a consultation with you? What's going to happen once you show up at my company location, right? That kind of thing. Frequently asked questions, right? That's a big opportunity for you to take the things that come up regularly with your prospective clients and turn that into content, turn that into frequently asked content. Now we've got a blog. Now I'm not going to go too much into the blog at the moment, but you want to think about your blog as a great way to create content that's going to help bring in search traffic, and also content that's going to keep people updated on your brand. If you go back to the original basis of what a blog is, it's a web log. It's a log. It's a diary essentially of, what's going on with this website, what's going on with this business, this brand, this individual over time. It's a way to document those things. And so a blog has a ton of potential for helping you to grow your site once you've launched it. But that's something that I'll have to talk about in another video. And then finally, your contact page, your contact essentials. That's something that you'll want to have. Now let's jump back over to our templates, and I'm going to, so I like what they recommended for me actually. Let's see. the Ready template. Vivid headlines and bright pops of color promote your services. I'm going to take a look at the preview of Ready here. Now, each template that we're looking at is slightly different. They all have different designs, but some of them have different features and functions that are unique to a particular set of templates. So for this video, I'm just going to go with what was recommended to me, and you're going to see, you're going to learn, how to edit any Squarespace template. But your template, the template you choose, it might be slightly different, but the way you edit the template and style it is going to be consistent across the board. Now, if I scroll down here, I should see a few different examples of how customers have used this template. And so this is a good way to kind of get inspiration and see what's possible. Now, most of these templates, you'll notice, are very image driven. And so there's a lot of big, bold images. So when you're in the planning phase, you want to think about the images that are going to complement your pages. Now, it's best if you can get these pictures professionally done and they're real. But if not, there are beautiful royalty-free images that you can find. One place that I like is unsplash.com. Unsplash is actually partnered with Squarespace, so you can find these images from within Squarespace, which is something that I can show you in a moment. But I just grabbed a handful of photos that I think will work with our videography site here that we're going to build. So I'm actually going to choose the Nueva template. Here, I'm going to start with this. So once this loads, I'm going to show you how the back end of Squarespace looks like, what it looks like, and what you can do. And then I'm going to walk you through the steps that we're going to take to edit this template and build out our website. So let's get started here. Perfect. So this is our starting point. You'll notice on the left, you've got pages. This is where we can edit the content within our pages. This is where we can add new pages, edit our individual page settings. All of that we're going to do in pages. Then there's design. Design is where we're going to tweak the design, our site styles. Then you've got a commerce section. We're not going to add any products for this video because we're focused on services. Then you got a marketing tab here, which has a handful of marketing features, which I'll show you later on. Then your analytics, so your site traffic, where your traffic is coming from, that kind of thing. And then our overall website settings, which I'll get into later as well. All right, so here we are. The template is now loaded up. And you can see in the left, I have a couple navigation sections, a primary navigation, a secondary navigation, and then a footer navigation. I also have a section here called not linked. So any page that I create or drag into any of these navigation sections show up here on the site. So this is our primary navigation up here. There's currently nothing in our secondary navigation, but our secondary navigation would allow us to kind of put some links to the left of the site title or put some links below these navigation links. So it gives us a little bit of flexibility to have a secondary nav. And then again, in the footer, you've got these two links here in the footer navigation. Now, when you click this plus icon, you'll see the option to create a new page. And there are different page types that you can create. You can create a blank page, or you can create a page that has a layout that's predefined. So you can play with those. You also have gallery pages, product pages, blog pages, events, album pages even, and an index page. Now, an index page is what we're looking at here at the home. An index page is a single scroll page that has multiple subsections or multiple subpages. So I can actually take this services page and I can drag it into the index, and now my index is going to have that services page at the bottom of it, as you can see here. Right, but I'm going to take it out because that's not what I want. Okay, so I just covered your navigation sections, how to add pages. Now let's talk about editing pages. We can edit our demo content by hitting the Edit tab here. And you're going to see these sideways teardrops. Now, if you click on the sideways teardrop, you're going to get a option to add content blocks. Now, every page consists of different kinds of content blocks. The main ones, or the basic ones, being your text content, image or video content, a button, or a spacer. Now, a spacer is something that you might not be familiar with, so I'm going to add a spacer and show you how it works. A spacer allows us to move things or create space between different code blocks or between different content blocks. All right, so I added a spacer here, and if I drag it a little bit, now I'm kind of centering this title by doing that. I can also add a spacer below, and I can drag it to make this section a little bigger. All right. And so since this is the very first thing that someone would see once they land on the site, I'm going to start actually building out our site. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to edit our site title. And there's a couple ways to do that. So I'm going to hit back, and I'm going to go to design. And here you see logo and title is the first option. So I'm going to click logo and title, and I'm going to change our site title to, e-commerce video pros. It's creative, huh? All right, so you can also upload a logo. If you have a logo, you can add a logo here. You can also add a tagline, which by default doesn't show, but you can make it show, and I can show you how to do that in a moment. So I'm going to leave that there. You can also change your browser icon here. Now, your browser icon is this thing that shows up in your browser tab. By default with Squarespace, it's a dark gray cube, but you can change that to something that matches your brand. And then there's a social sharing logo. So when you share your website on social media, the image that shows up is going to be the image that you select right here. So let's jump back over into our pages, and we're going to get our navigation looking like what it needs to look like, and then we're going to edit the first thing that we see here along with this image. So our website, we've got a home page. We also have an about page. So I'm going to use the about page layout. And there are a few options here. I'm just going to select the vertical. And I'm going to call this, I'm actually going to call this our story. What else do I have? I have a case studies. So let's change project gallery to case studies. So I just clicked that gear icon, and what this does is it opens up the page settings, which allows me to change the page title, case studies, and I'm going to change the navigation title. This is what shows up in the navigation. And I'm also going to change the URL slug while I'm here. While you make your site, you want to keep this simple and consistent. You don't want to just add new pages and have the default URL slug, because that's going to have an impact on your SEO. So now I'm going to hit save. And you can see now that says case studies, services, and contacts. So these are the pages that I wanted to start with. I'm going to change the home page to start here. So let's say someone is coming to my website via some other page, this home page or the start here page is going to kind of signal to them, hey, I want you to look at this first. Let's hit save and let's jump back over. Okay, now let's edit this background image so we can start to feel more like e-commerce video pros. And there's a couple ways to do that. I'm going to select banner here. And if I go down to, it already loads. So here at the media tab, you can see this is the image that's being used. I can also use a video if I had a video that was relevant. I don't. But instead, I'm going to remove this image and I can search for images. So let me search for images so you can see how this Unsplash integration works. And I'm going to say videographer. All right. And so I'm looking for something that I think reflects our hypothetical e-commerce pros brand. For some reason, I like this because it's real people with smiles on their faces. And you can see the camera stuff in the back. Might not be the best, but it grabbed my attention. So I'm going to wait for that to load and then hit save. And while that loads, let me jump back to my document here to see what we need for our our homepage headline. So here we have it. We help growing e-commerce brands sell more with video. So let's copy that. And let's hit edit. And let's paste that in here. Now you can see whenever I write text, there's going to be these options that show up here. And so I'm going to highlight the text. And I'm going to make this a heading 1, which looks kind of big, which is all right because I can make it smaller later on. Yeah, so I'm going to go with the heading 1 since that's actually what I want. We help growing e-commerce brands sell more with video. Fine. I'm going to delete this spacer block. And you can delete any block if you mouse over it and you see that trash icon. Now I'm going to hit save. And here we have kind of like a little summary section. And I think the whole purpose here for the homepage was to drive people to our free webinar. So let's see if we can do that. Okay, so see, you can schedule an appointment. Let's say schedule, let's say sign up for our webinar. And let's use the copy. Sign up for a free webinar. Learn how we took using Facebook video ads. All right, cool. So we're going to hit edit on this content block for a button. And let's say sign up now. Now this would have to click through to either a page with the webinar video, or if you had a separate webinar video host, you would change this click through URL to point there. So we're just going to say webinar, and that's going to go to our webinar page. And actually, now that I think about it, we're going to use this right here instead. It's okay to make noises along the way if something doesn't go how you expect it to. Now you can see I'm moving kind of quickly, deleting blocks. I'm dragging blocks around, and as you drag, you can see a line that's going to show you where something is going to end up. You can also again click between blocks and drag to create some space. But I'm going to delete this spacer block as well. And let's make this a little bigger. Here we go. That makes sense. Free webinar. And yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, and actually I'm not happy all the way. So I'm just going to keep everything on this single scroll site. I'm going to keep everything centered. And I'm going to make our button centered. So if I go to edit the button, I can change the alignment to center. And I can also change the size, and each size has its own settings, which I'll show you a bit later. So I'm going to leave it at the medium size, hit apply, hit save, and I'm going to change this image here again to something that reflects our e-commerce Video Pro brand. So let's add an image. And this is an image that I saved from Unsplash already. So as that loads, there we go. Yeah, let's use this image. And let's hit save. Save. Now, while I'm here, let me show you. So you've got another tab here called Social Image. Now, this is the image that would show up on social media if this specific page was being shared and you wanted to make sure that was a specific image, you'd put that image here. But by default, it's going to pull an image from the page and use that. So let me add this again. And okay, here we go. Hit open. Okay, now I'm going to hit save. And keep scrolling, and here we have some testimonials. All right, so I'm not going to change these testimonials because I don't have anyone. I don't have any, but I'm going to leave them here because I actually like how this is set up already. Where it says "See my handiwork," I would change this now to see some case studies or check out our case studies, and then instead of linking to the project gallery, this would link to our case studies. And then here's an about me, and so here we got a little story on how this business started. And then again, you might want to link that to your about page. And here it says schedule appointment. But instead, since we want to drive all of this traffic to check out our webinar, because that's going to really prepare them to want to work with us, we're going to change this to register for free webinar on growing your store with video ads. All right, and let's edit this button again, or this button, and let's just say register now. Hit apply. Okay, now let's scroll back up. All right, so we've got our content here for the homepage. I'd probably even delete one of these testimonials. But I'm not happy with the size of this font. I'm not happy with the font. I'm not happy with the colors. And so now we're going to move into the next phase of this testimonial, where I'm going to show you how to edit the site styles so that you can have a website that matches your brand. So let's go back out of home and let's go to design. Now, the second option here is template. So if we wanted to, we can go in and we could swap this for another template, but we're not going to do that. We don't need to. We're going to go straight into our site styles. And from within our site styles, we're going to be able to click on any element within the page, and that's going to give us a set of options that we can use to tweak whatever those elements are that we select. So the first thing that I'm going to select is our site title up here, which just disappeared. Here it is. And so you can see this is our header, Brandon. I've got options here to change the spacing between these elements, to change the positioning. So like I mentioned, I could position this site title in the middle of the page. So where it says Brandon position, right now it's bottom left. I'm going to change that to bottom center. Did I change it? No, I didn't. Let's try that one more time. There it is. And then you can see our navigation here. I scroll down. Here's our primary navigation, and here you can see it's currently positioned on the bottom right, and I want this to be top center. So there you go. All right, and so I can mess around with this some more. I want my site title to be a little bigger, so I'm going to change the size. There it is, and I'm going to change the font as well. I'm going to go with something. Let's go with Bebas. And I'm satisfied, I think. All right, now let's change this here. So notice I just simply clicked on this element, and the options that showed up here allow me to now change the size. I can change the weight. So I'm going to keep it kind of thick, and I'm going to change the actual typeface. And the good thing about this is you can always change things back if you don't like them. So I'm going to change it back. And I'm also going to change the, let me see what font I'm using up here. FF Good Headline. Okay. Well, I'm going to use that for my brand header as well. And I'm going to make my brand things a little smaller, but I want the weight to be thick. There we go. And now I want to change the overlay here on this so that you can actually see this pop out a little bit more. I'm also going to change the content inset so that I have more space for my content to spread out. Notice what happened down here. Okay, and I'm going to change that overlay color. Now, as I go through this, you might think, okay, this is starting to become too much for me, or, maybe this isn't something that I want to do on my own. Then definitely head on over to sqspthemes.com. And if you click on services, you can reach out to me directly, and I'll be able to help point you in the right direction at least. It might be working with another expert, or if I can help you myself, I will do it. But at the very least, I can connect you or plug you into whatever resource is going to help you get your site done. All right, so feeling a little bit better about that. I'm going to change the color here, and I'm going to actually just make this black. And I'm going to go with a kind of just a black and white minimal look. Now if I click on our button, remember I mentioned you have 3 buttons. So here is our medium button block. If I were to click show all, this is going to show me all of the possible elements that I can edit on the page. And I can also search for elements. So I can search for button. So yeah, let's look at all of our buttons. Show all. And let's go to button. All right, so you can see your small button block. Those are the default colors. Then you've got your medium button block. So this is already black. And again, similarly, I can change the font. I can change this font as well. And where is it? Oh, it's because I still have button up here. So that's my heading too. And I'm going to change this. All right, and scroll down. Now it looks like I've got the same image twice here. So I'm going to back out of this, and I'm going to refresh our page. All right, now here is our site, e-commerce video pros. If we scroll down, you'll see this is hopefully will accomplish our goals of really getting people to register for our webinar and then hopefully become clients. Now we've got a couple other pages here. We've got our case studies, services, our contact page. I haven't changed any of those for this video, but it's the same way that you would change any of these pages. You simply edit the content, and you can drag and drop your content blocks until you have something that kind of fits and makes sense for what you like. Now I'm going to go into some of the other options here to show you what you have available to you. One thing that you can do is you can customize the lock screen. The lock screen is what shows up whenever you make a page private, or like right now our site is not public. That's what shows up. It's the lock screen. So you can change the layout of your lock screen. You can change the text. You can make it say, under construction, coming now, that type of thing. You've also got a not found 401 page, which you can select here. And so the default is just going to say, hey, we couldn't find the page you were looking for. But you can create your own 404 page not found and set that using one of these, set that here. Now, if we go down to the marketing tab, I'm going to show you some of the marketing features that are built into the platform. Email campaigns is something that you can add on. It will allow you to capture subscribers and then follow up with them via email campaigns. You've also got your SEO tab here. Now, the SEO tab here applies to your entire site. So I'm going to show you quickly how this works. All right, so here you can see on the home page, the way this would show up in a search result is you would see the site title, and let's say I wanted to say e-commerce video pros, New York City videographer. All right. And then I can also add a SEO site description. So this would apply to the entire site. Now, if I go over to this tab that says pages, this is going to show me how my SEO title is formatted for the individual pages. So it'd be the page title / the site title. And this is something that you can change on a page by page basis. If you go to the page settings, you'll see an SEO tab that allows you to, for each page, customize the SEO title and description. Now let's go back to the other marketing options. You can add a promotional pop-up. So this is a pop-up that you can use either to get newsletter opt-ins or to show something important that you want people to click on. You can also add an announcement bar. This would show up at the top of the page. And you can use that if you have something to announce. You've also got the Facebook pixel and ads. So if you are using Facebook to make ads and you want to be able to retarget the people who come to your website and retarget them with ads on Facebook, then you're definitely going to want to use the Facebook pixel option here. Now, if I go to our analytics, you're going to see you can check out your traffic, where that traffic is coming from, both geographically and also what traffic sources online, whether that's from search or social media or direct. You can also check out your entire website settings here. And this is where you'd put your business information. If you have any other social media networks, you would put them under social links and connected accounts. So let's say you wanted to show your Instagram content, you would connect that account here. Or if you want to show your social media icons, then you would add those here with social links. Now, where you see billing and account, this is where we're going to upgrade our site and prepare to go live. So if I hit billing and click upgrade plan, It's going to bring me to my price and options. And there are 4 Squarespace plans. 2 of them are, I guess, for regular websites, and then 2 of them are for e-commerce websites. And you have the option to either pay annually or pay monthly. Now, you save a bunch of money if you pay annually. If you're watching this video, I've also got a code in the description to help you save a little bit of money on these annual plans. But you can also pay on a month-by-month basis, and you can see what those prices are here. Now you're probably wondering, okay, how do I pick? What's the best one to pick? And the most popular plan is the business plan for a good reason. All plans come with a free custom domain, but the business plan, it gives you the most features that you really need to get started. If you're not interested in using any of the premium content blocks or customizing any of the code, if you have no interest in selling any products or having more than 2 contributors, then you might want to go with the personal plan. But otherwise, the business plan is a great place to start. And if you're selling products, then you might want to upgrade to the one of the commerce plans later on. Now, once you've chosen your plan, if you've chosen an annual plan, you'll be able to pick a domain for free. But if you choose a monthly plan, then you'll have to go ahead and pay the $20 for a domain. So you can click Get a Domain, and here I see some options. ecommercevideopros.com is available, so I can add that here, and that would be my main domain. Now, if I have my domain somewhere else, maybe on GoDaddy or Namecheap, I can click Use a Domain that I own and type in that domain, click Continue, and based off of wherever that domain is hosted, it's going to allow me to basically sync it up, and it's an automatic process, so you don't even have to do any manual configurations there. So once you've done that, you're ready to launch your site and make it live, and you do that by changing your site visibility from private. Of course, you would have already upgraded, and you would change it to public. And once your site is public, ecommercevideopros.com would be live, and you'd be able to show it to the world. So I hope you've gotten something out of this video. Just to recap, we spoke about how to prepare for your site, the things that you need to think about and plan for, mainly your website copy, the content that's actually going to be on the pages, and the images that you're going to use to kind of break up the text and highlight what it is that you do so well. So we talked about editing pages, how to add pages, how to edit the content on a page, how to edit your content blocks. We also talked about editing our site styles and how to change that, how to make that match our brand. And then we went into some of the other settings that you can use, and finally how to find a domain and make your site live. Now, yeah, that's it. Like I mentioned, if you have any questions, you can feel free to get in touch with me, Omari at sqspthemes.com, or you can check out sqspthemes.com and click on the services tab, and you can get to me that way. All right, peace.